Well, just thank you so much for coming to Inspire, for choosing to invest in yourself and therefore into artisans by showing up here. This is a big deal. You had to move a lot of things around in your life to make this happen. If you're married or single, it's just the reality of it, and we want to honor that and thank you. And we want to thank you for choosing this session, and we'll see how this goes. Melissa and I have never spoke together, and we both really like to talk. So we're storytellers. So I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm going to let Melissa introduce hers, and then we'll get going. So just to make sure you're orienting yourself to the right place, you are at the Beautiful Adventure. That is the session that hopefully you signed up for. If you snuck in, that's totally fine. We take stowaways. So I'm Shelby Blackcouch, and I'm an Ohio girl living in a Pennsylvania world. I live in the greater Pittsburgh region. I'm a director of an awesome team called Team Share the Love. And when I have to fill out any kind of form and they ask what my occupation is, I write World Changer. So glad you're here.
Again, I want to say welcome and thank you for coming to our little storytelling session here. My name is Melissa Patchett. I have been with Trades of Hope for, it's going to be 4 years this fall. I am a director of Team Tembo, and if you had told me that 4 years ago, I would have called you a big fat liar. I only joined because I liked the bags, but I believed in the mission, and everything else just kind of fell on top of me, and I was planted where I was and grew my business from there, and there was just no turning back. Plus, you get to work with people like Shelby Blackcouch.
All right, so we're going to set a timer here just to give us the opportunity. Oh, I did the wrong thing. We didn't want to go down. We wanted to go up because the down makes us nervous. So... It is. We've been on the stage before. It's distracting. The whole time you're like, 7 seconds just went by. Did I make any sense? I don't think so. So hopefully you will keep laughing with us. Hopefully this will make sense. We're really excited to be able to share with you the things we're going to share with you today. It's not because we think we're like the experts at this, right? The thing is Melissa and I, we show up. We show up for her and with her every single day. Well, maybe 5 to 6 days a week. And it really, over time, you develop a solid business when you create a solid, consistent plan of making sure that you are touching your business and connecting with folks. Hey, Deanna, if you want to set those right on the floor there, right as they're walking in, maybe the gals at the door can point at them for the latecomers, so that way she can sit. No, that's fine. Thanks, Deanna. So we're talking about this journey that we're on, and join us as we explore the bumps, detours, and amazing vistas along the adventure that we call Trades of Hope. So this is the reality of doing a business of any sort. It's not going to be fast. And it's not going to be one straight route. Instead, you're going to be having to deal with life in all capital letters, life. So when you are getting ready to go on a vacation, what is it that you do? Do you maybe there's some brave souls that just get in the car with a packed bag and some money in their pocket. No, usually you make a plan, right? Maybe you consult a professional like a travel agent. But more likely, you pull out the map, you Google it, you start talking with family and friends, you get recommendations on Facebook from people, you scout out where it is that you want to go. And so that is the same kind of thing that we are offering here and talking about where you want to start and getting to the end of your journey. You want to know what it is that you're striving for. Because otherwise, you'll be constantly aiming at nothing, right? You'll keep missing whatever you might think you want to do. But if you haven't really articulated it for yourself and for those in the interior of your life, you may never get there. So we want to start off by talking about, as the quote says here, a goal without a plan is just a wish. It's just a whole bunch of happy thoughts. And so when I came to Inspire of 2016, there's all kinds of surprises that happened to me. Now, I will say, in all transparency and honesty, my first 9 months with Trades of Hope, it was real willy-nilly. I just was kind of going for it. I was doing stuff. I had no clue in America what I was doing. I didn't even have my own personal home party until December. I joined in March. But I did like 15 Facebook parties in the last 2 weeks of selling season in December. I did vendor events. Sure, I can do a vendor event for you. I had no clue in America how to do it. I mean, it was just like this whole thing. I just kept making it up as I went. And there's some beauty in that. And sometimes I think maybe I overthink it today. So if you're there, I want you to like kind of rein some of that in, like harness it, because that raw joy, that raw energy with your business can take you for miles and miles. But when I showed up at my first national retreat in January of 16, I was surprised. I was like, oh, an ace. I didn't even know what that was. But I won. Hey, this is fun. And I got like a little necklace. I was like, even funner. So cool. I didn't know we were going to get rewarded for the things we do because I had no clue in America about direct sales. I just wanted to change women's lives. But I decided there that at the end of that weekend, I looked at these women who I grew to develop friendships with and admire, and I saw the kinds of global impact they had, and I was like, dang, I sold 18,000 in the first 9 months I was with the company. I want to sell more. I wanted to have an even bigger global impact. So I made a decision and told a couple girls who were with me at retreat, I'm going to sell at least $1,000. I'm going to strive to sell $1,000 every month. And you've probably heard me talk about this on Monday wake-up calls. I pulled this out of my old campus ministry tool belt, toolkit, and it's using this good, better, best model for writing goals. And the reason why this is a good way to write goals is because you pick numbers, you pick different activities that's going to allow you to feel layers of success. People really shame themselves around goals, and that's not the intention of a goal. A goal, again, it's like going on a trip. It's that destination. It's that place you want to get to. But you've got to have some path for getting there. So I decided I was going to shoot for $500 a month. $700 would be my good goal. $750 would be my better goal. And $1,000 would be my best goal. And I was like, dang, that's a lot. Now, I knew I had just sold my socks off in the fall, but I knew that was fall, right? I knew that was Christmas selling. And I was like, and it's January. Nobody wants to pay for anything because they're freaking out over their credit card bills, right? But I made this decision that I wanted to make sure that I had something to strive for that I, too, could feel successful about. So that's where I layered it. So, pleasant surprise, that whole next year, I sold at least $1,000 every month, if not $4,000, $5,000, whatever. But had I not had something to shoot for, I don't think those bigger numbers would have come, that bigger global impact would have come. So in 2017, I bumped up my goals to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, because I looked back at that year before and saw where those could be stretches for me and things I could accomplish. 2018, I was 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and today my goals are 1,000, 2,500, and 4,000 for my good, better, best. Notice 1,000's always there, right? Because I know how to get there. I can do that if I'm sick in bed with bronchitis. Not a problem. Fibromyalgia, don't worry about it. I can get there because I know how to achieve those goals. You can do the same thing with sponsoring, but you could do that monthly, quarterly, yearly. You can also do the same thing with your map to Guatemala. Which point do you want to be able to achieve each month to be able to get you further along the map? So, secondly, you want to identify the tools that are going to get you there. The first, and I think best tool, is if you embrace the flexibility that I know that God put inside you. You might not think it's there, but I have to think you need to call on the Holy Spirit to stir that little sucker up so that you can give yourself the flex, because life ain't neat, right? It's not orderly, and that's okay. If you're waiting for the day when it's going to be orderly so you can start really working your business, I'm sorry, you're never going to work for Trades of Hope or do anything else. So, flexibility is your best friend. Learning to roll with it, learning to play to the positives, learning to have a positive mindset on whatever you're doing, even when the day runs long and you didn't get where you'd hoped that you might land. Secondly, is learning how to party to your goal. So when I picked that 500, 750, 1,000, I knew because I looked back at the year before and I looked at what I could accomplish in a Facebook party, what I could accomplish in a home party, and what I could accomplish in a vendor event. And that was just in year one. Those numbers have all grown because the more you do these things, the more you tell your stories, the more you show up and do great parties, you have even greater parties. If you feel like you're not a great partier, book some parties. This isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. So for me, I know that if I can get 8 women in a room, at this point in the game, I'd say my parties average $800 to $1,200 if I can get 8 guests and our hostess there. So I incentivize my hostess to that, which I'll talk a little bit about later, to get those 8 people there, but it's through practice storytelling. The best thing I can do for our artisans is I can showcase the pieces and help people feel connected to them. And so I soundbite the heck out of my business. Anything people touch or see or compliment me on, I'm able to connect them to the mission. So you want to set a time frame for these goals. Maybe it's what you want to get accomplished this week, what you want to get accomplished in the month or quarter, and then what you want to accomplish in the year. I do think setting annual goals can be hard for having really big numbers, but in terms of what I want to accomplish between today and next Inspire, I am formulating that right now this week in terms of what I want for my overall goal. And one of those is to be in the DR, right? So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to party my way to the DR or sponsor 25 people who I get them all qualified. I've already had that discussion with myself at the table. So you have to know your calendar and you have to know your availability. And that means you sit down with your partner, your spouse, your whomever, your kids, your family, and you figure out this is when mom's going to party. Mom's going to party on Tuesday night, or if it's your circle of friends that you hang out with regularly, you want to make sure that you have conversation with your people so that you can figure out those times, dedicate it, and make a commitment to yourself and to the artisans, because the artisans are counting on you and me showing up. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, in my hostess coaching, about how to put it into action. This one talks a lot, so don't even.
I gave her a little reminder of put the timer on her page, and she just totally went, and just shoved it right off.
I gave her 10 to 12 minutes.
I was like, you asked me to do that. All right, switch to the next page. This is the part where you're driving along and you think you're going the right way and everything doesn't go according to plan. That annoying little voice goes, recalculating. Recalculating. In 1 mile, turn around and completely start over. You've messed up. Recalculating. Raise your hand if you are here because you feel you are rebuilding your business today. First of all, I want you to take that hand, bend it behind you, and give yourself a big fat pat on the back because you didn't give up. You're here, right? All right. We all have to recalculate. It's what we do. It's this, especially with Trades of Hope being as young as it is, we're constantly growing and evolving with what we're doing. So when somebody's like, I have to rebuild, I have to start over, I get really upset. Not because I feel that they have failed in any way, but they feel that they are starting from scratch. When you are doing a remodel or you're rebuilding, you feel as if you've knocked everything down, you have to get out the wood, you got to get out the nails, and you got to start all over again, right? That's not what we're doing. You are bringing with you experience. You may have taken a wrong turn and have come back where you started, but you have all that experience that you are bringing with you. You now know what the light looks like when it bounces off the windshield in front of you. You know when that hostess calls at the last minute and says, yeah, I don't know that I so much want to do it today, right? You know, you've been through this. Yeah. Directors hear that too. Everybody hears that. So I'm going to talk to you about whether you are here starting fresh or starting brand new, the steps are still the same. You need to touch your business every single day. Every day. I personally choose 6. Why? There are 6 lines in my planner, and that's a good number. I'm a creature of habit. I will not buy a new planner. If I have 12 things I need to do that day, I better write small and write them side by side. I have 6 lines in my planner. For you, maybe it's going to be 3. Maybe it's going to be 4. Whatever it's going to be consistent. When you are consistent with your business, that is where you're going to see those steps happen. It's not about the size of your stride, but the consistency in the steps that you're taking. What you see here in my little graphic is the 6 ways every day you are going to touch your business. There are multi-levels, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Some of those level 1s, you're like, a thank you note? Well, I can write a thank you note, but I got to sell something first. Well, then maybe that's not where you start. Let's start with wear your product, which if you were in there today, I know you have some because they gave it to you, right? So wear your product every day. When the lady at the grocery store says, I like your earrings, don't just say, oh my gosh, I got them for free. No, you're going to say, oh, thank you. They help save babies, and give her your business card. They help educate a woman, whatever it does help to do. There's all these different levels, like I said, the 3 different levels, and you will notice that they are weighted. If you're going to fill out your daily agenda of what you're going to do, wearing your product seems like a pretty easy thing to do, right? However, I say you get to count that. So, wear your product today, check. You now only have 5 things to do today. Amazing. And maybe it's write a note to a fellow CE saying, I sat in your Beautiful Adventure, and you were so funny. What? You could be writing it to Shelby. Whatever it is, something like that is a level 2. You're reaching out, you're creating those contacts, and what you are doing, you're not just being kind to somebody around you, you are building yourself a support system. When you give kindness, you're going to get it. And this isn't just true between you and your hostesses, but between our sisterhood as well. A level 3, that's going to be a little bit harder, right? That's where you have to sit down and you have to set those annual goals, or you're going to finally talk to that woman who wants to hear all about Trades of Hope. This is going to be something that's going to take a little bit more time. You can't do 6 level 3 things in a day and work a full-time job. I mean, if you can, I got things for you to do around my house. But most of us, we have to allow a certain amount of time, and especially for some of you that have full-time jobs, whether that be a homeschooling mom or a mom with babies or somebody who's out CEO of her own business and you're doing this because you believe in the mission, whatever it is, you can touch your business in 6 ways every day, but you need to make the time for it. So for some of you, 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day, you should be able to punch out at least 6 level 1 things. And you're like, well, I may have actually 2 sessions of 15 minutes a day, right? You could now almost maybe throw in a couple of level 2 and a couple of level 1s. They're like, you know what? I got a bigger day on Thursday. I might be able to do some level 3 things and some level 1 things. However you feel, you can tick these things off your list. These are just examples, of course, that I have given you here. They are generally the ones that I stick to. When you see things like training and level 2, that's a meeting. Like if you show up for your team meeting, count that. That's working your business. Showing up is an activity. Whether or not you feel that it's income producing, it's not like somebody came and put the money in your pocket right then and there, but this is income producing for sure. Being here, that counts. Now, You have to wake up in the morning ready to do this, right? And I don't know about you, but if it's in the morning, my kids are screaming, and I have to now write down 6 things I'm going to do on top of everything else I have to do, I'm not doing them. I might wear the earrings. Maybe. So I do my lists every night, the night before, while I'm sitting there watching TV, or my husband's watching TV and I'm not interested in what he's watching. And I will sit there and think, what do I need to do this week? What can I get done in my 15 or 20 minutes tomorrow? And I fill in my chart. Now, you get up to a director, you need more than 15, 20 minutes. I am not going to pretend that that's true. I mean, you need more time than 15, 20 minutes because you got more people to call and things like that. But when you are revamping and starting your business, for sure you can do this. Now, I can already hear you. Like, I can see it in your faces. But what happens when I don't do it and then I feel really bad about myself? Well, don't do it. And then forgive yourself, okay? Say, it's okay, you know what? I made the list. I made my list last night. That counts, right? Check, that was something. Anything you didn't do that night, put an arrow next to it and move it to the next night. Write it down to do it for tomorrow, and you will eventually get tired of writing that thing down, and you will do it. All right, my time is up over here, but not while Shelby's talking, because, well, that's rude, but you have write your daily 6 for tomorrow. And some of you are like, oh, that'll be fun to do when I get home. Nope. Today, I want you to start today. Write your daily 6 that you want to do for tomorrow. And guess what? I already know 1 for you. You're going to wear your product. You're going to, wear your product is what level? 1. And sitting in a session across the hall tomorrow you're going to do, that's a 3. Oh, no, I'm going to give you a 3 on that one. I mean, technically it should probably be a 2. And Tend Inspire is a 3. See? I knew. Exactly. You do it. You do it. And I'm not going to lie. For some people, that check is enough. The check is not enough for me. I made stickers for myself. I did these. I did. They were gold stars, a little silver pack of the gold stars. And every time I would check something off the list, I was like, I got a star. I got a star. And now whenever I book a party in my calendar, I put a gold star.
So we've talked about trying to figure out what's your destination. Then we talked a little bit about life happens, right? It gets messy. You have to recalculate. You have to reorient yourself where you're at and where you're going. So now we're going to talk about getting to your destination. So getting to that place or that rhythm, that way in which you are going to be working your business consistently. We're going to talk about shopping, sharing, and partnering. So in terms of shopping, we have tons of different ways, and more are going to be coming soon. So just know that there's a little something coming down the pike here, social media-wise. In terms of selling, you can have a home party. You can do a Facebook party. You can do some people do Instagram parties. I don't even know how y'all do that. I can barely post there. And social media postings and vendor events. So in those spaces, the key is to connect with people, right? And to be able to build relationships with folks. So one of the best ways in terms of making sure the shopping experience is abundant for artisans and through your customers is to helping somebody be a strong hostess. So for me, I've really tried to streamline my business as much as I can because I don't want to spend all my time working for Trades of Hope because then it's not going to be sustainable for me either, right? And I've got other people in my life that I want to be spending time with or things to do. but I do want to change the world. So one of the things I found is that, there was a lot of the same text that I was sending, basically the same wording over and over again to hostesses, right? So now I have 4 in my notes on my smartphone. I have my 4 hosting coach messages that I send folks. The first one, and it's called Hosting Coach 1. Hosting Coach 2. Nothing fancy here because it's in my notes. If I copy it, I drop it into the PM or the text, whatever's her best format for communicating. And I just delete the hostess coaching title, right? And I put in there, hey, Molly. And in those places, I'm first talking about how we're going to get people to our party. What are the best formats for inviting? And I offer multiple. Paper's always the best winner. Second best, almost equal, is to do text or PM invites. I give her that option. Facebook party invites have to come with a text or PM because Facebook is so stinking noisy now. And then the other option would be to do email. I strongly discourage it. I've not had much success because people typically don't email as much to communicate, except for my group of like 40 Mennonites over in Southeast Ohio who party like a mad women with me. That works for them. So I just that's my first one. The second one then, after we decide what her invitation is, and I've already sent her some information or a copy of that, the second thing I'm sending her is, hey, here are my 3 hostess specials. First one is you get 8 people at that party to shop with you that night. Then I'm going to let you get to pick anything you want out of my Hope basket. Took that idea from Annette Steiner. Thank you very much, sister. Awesome, very motivating. I put retired product in there. If you're newer, you could use things like the Guatemalan bookmarks, the Thai coin purses, whatever. So you want to have something there that she could take and be able to have as a gift. Maybe you get little fair trade chocolates and put in an extra sachet you have. Something that's going to be able to be something tangible. But if it can be a Trades of Hope product, that's the place to go. The next one I talk about is, second piece is I say, hey, when your party hits I say, here's our hostess incentive. I put that one out there, have a little blurb about it. The third thing I write in there is, hey, if your party hits $1,000, I'm going to send a mama kit in your name so that women can birth safely in Uganda. My hostesses love that. We're going to take questions. We'll take some questions at the end, okay? The last thing I talk about on there is, hey, if you get 3 people to party with you, to book parties off your party, then I'd love to give you free shipping on your hostess order because that is the way, that's going to be a sustainable income-producing way for me to give her free shipping. And when we get to the end of the party, place that hostess order. If she doesn't have that third party, I say, hey, you want to have a party with me at Christmas? We just had a rockin' one in February. Why not, right? And so if she books off her own party, she gets the booking bonus and free shipping from me. So I have all those kinds of hostess coaching notes already pre-made in my notes, so I can just copy and paste. The day of, there's just a third one that's about checking in and just saying, hey, how's your head count coming along? How are people responding to your invites? I'm going to be at your house at this time on that day. Have your dining room table cleared off for me. Can't wait to change the world with you. And then the newer one I've been doing, and this has really been quite beautiful what it's done, is the morning of her party. I send her this message that basically is like, hey, world changer, you, all capital letters, are going to help mommies feed their babies today. You are going to help women recover who've been trafficked. All these things simply because you decided to open up your heart and your home to the women in your circle of influence by partying. So it's great. And I send her a little inspiring graphic, and I'm just loving on her, right? I can't love on this woman enough because I say that the parties, our hostesses, are the ways in which we're building our business. I can't do this on my own. I don't have enough people who have that many parties with me every year, right? But I've partied with over 200 hostesses in the last 4 years, and I want to love on these women. I want them to know that I'm grateful for them because they are a huge piece of our artisans' success. So when you have those kinds of messages, you're sending them over and over again, don't write a unique message for each hostess. you can personalize it, but make it sustainable for you so you can get out there and play with your kids in the yard or go to yoga class. It's important. Take care of yourself. Take care of your people. The other thing I talk with my hostesses about, especially if I've already partied with this woman, I say, please invite people to this party that I do not know. Of course, all those gals who love wearing all of our cuffs or carrying our bags, you can invite them too, but don't just rely on the guests who have already heard about Trades of Hope. The best thing you can do for our artisan partners is to introduce new family and friends. So I just asked her right up front if she'd be willing to do that with me. And people love that. Sometimes they just forget that would, because they've got that easy crowd, right? They've got their Trades of Hope crowd who they wear their gear with or carry their stuff with. So... and so those are I find those really effective ways. I also have the same kinds of things saved on my email. My hostess email, my electronic packet, it's already there. I just copy it, paste it, change your names, slap on the attachments, and boom, it's out. There's no need to keep making things, recreating things over and over again. So I hope that these will help add value to your days and give you a little bit more time. And they have been things I find to be really successful and that my hostesses feel nurtured. So they hear from me 4 times before the party and almost always just through these texts or PMs. Occasionally we'll talk if that's something she needs.
Well, that was the shop section. I'm going to move us down to the share, which, by the way, I really liked that where you message her in the day and you say, you are going to change. I love that. See, even I'm taking notes. But when it comes to sharing Trades of Hope with other people, what does that mean to you? Some people say it just means telling my sister-in-law. It means talking to my friends from time to time. But those of you that are really wanting to build and branch out, it means being willing to put yourself out there and to talk to anyone about Trades of Hope. Are you willing to talk to your waitress about it when you're out for dinner with your family? Say, write on your slip, you are amazing. I'd love to talk to you about you joining my team. Right? I personally give them a really good pen with my contact information because a waitress will throw away a business card. I don't know a single waitress that throws away a good pen. So I personally do that with them. Another way for you to maintain or to share with other people is to maintain the customers you already have, right? So you've had this online party, you've had this home party. A lot of people will say, you need to follow up, you need to call, you need to email them. I think in this day and age, a lot of people have learned to just tune that out. I know myself personally, I agree with Shelby 100%. People just see email as like, if I need a coupon, I'm going to go into my email and search and get that coupon, and that's about all I use it for. It's very rarely for personal use. However, people do use Facebook as a way of communicating and keeping in touch with people. So what I will do, whether I'm at a vendor event, a home party, or online party, I don't just say, oh, by the way, if you're interested, you may join my Facebook group. I let them know that they are now, but with their purchase, a part of my VIPs. Forever and always, you are an advocate and a supporter of our artisans, and I want to bless you. And I want to acknowledge that. Whether you buy something from me ever again, that's up to you. I would love for you to join my Facebook group, and I have a group just tied to my personal account where it's just my VIP customers. And there, I tell them really simply, just so you know, it's not a constant sale, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. It is more for you to know updates on the artisans. If I have earned something like a cleft palate surgery, I will tell you all about it. And frankly, I don't earn that. They do. So I usually will do a give back to them and say things like, you all made this happen. I didn't buy my way here. You all made this happen, so I'm going to give away a necklace or a pair of earrings or something like that as a thank you to them. But in order for me to do that, they have to get in that page, right? They have to feel comfortable in that page. I keep it private. I don't allow just anybody who wants to come in there. I want them to be protected, because also with Facebook comes other poachers. People will try to get into your groups, and they will try to all of a sudden say, oh, hey, I see we have a mutual friend, Melissa, in common. Have you tried this beauty cream? Or have you done this, that, and the other thing? And you have to be careful of that. Do you have to police every single person? Like, I'm not letting anybody else who sells anything in my group. No, but you still have to make sure that it is a protected space for you, the people that shop with you. But when you have this group, you now have a way of tapping into them when we have a booking blitz. I hear we have a booking blitz, and I don't panic thinking, who am I going to go to? I'm going to open up my VIP page and say, hey, want to book your party? We haven't booked your party for 2020 yet. We had a great time in such and such. And I have a complete record of all of that through our Facebook Messenger that we've done back and forth together. Now, that is one way to share with your customer base, right? The people that you're hostessing with, you've got your VIP pages, right? Another way to share is when you want to invite people into the opportunity. Somebody at some point asked you, hey, you ever consider becoming a compassionate entrepreneur with Trades of Hope? Or maybe nobody did ask you. Maybe you just were like, what is this? And you checked it out on your own and looked into it. But wouldn't it be nice to have somebody say, you'd be really good at this, and here's why. So when you share that opportunity with somebody, it's not about you. It's not, I would love for you to join my team. We would have so much fun. Oh, it would be so great for you to be there. No, it's about her. It would be like, you would be so good at this. I know you have a heart for helping people. And you get to do this as well as show other people how they can help people. And it can just spread like wildfire. So you are going to talk to her about her and her journey. And there are ways that you can still explain Trades of Hope and making it about her. One way is through the sneak peek parties that they do on Facebook. All of your directors should be, or national directors, some national directors, they're doing a sneak peek where you can invite a potential CE to come to this event and learn more about what it means to be a partner with Trades of Hope. And you word it just like that. Say, Betty, you were an amazing hostess for me. I would love for you to at least consider joining Trades of Hope, because I know you'd be fantastic at it. My director is having an event this week that explains all about what it means to join Trades of Hope. You can be a fly on the wall. You can ask questions. It's completely up to you. Just information, no pressure. Can I add you to the event? And usually they're like, well, yeah, my kid has a soccer game, but I might be able to check it out later if that's okay. And then you're like, well, yeah, of course. That's what it's there for. And that is one way that you can share the opportunity. The other way to share opportunity is, like I said before, just talk to people. Ask them. I share the opportunity with waitresses, like I said. I would love to have you on my team. You were amazing. Do I say that to the ones that are not amazing? No. I might give her a business card, though. You feel free to shop your little heart out. Yes, we need shoppers, too. What else did how to book outside your inner circle. All right. Now I got your attention, right? Now you're all like, please, my mother-in-law cannot have one more party for me. Well, when I first started Trades of Hope, I swore I would never even have a party. I just liked the bags. And my friend from elementary school, who knows way too much information about me, says, tell me more about what you're doing with Trades of Hope. I'm like, I'm not really doing it. It's just kind of this thing that, I like the bags. And she was like, but what is it? And so finally she dragged it out of me. And she went, well, I'd love to have a party for you. And I went, really?
Not even lying. This is how she was at Fearless when I met her. She's like, I'm not going to sell this stuff. I'm going to buy it.
True story. And I was like, she went, well, why not? Isn't that what you do? I went, look, I don't want to talk to women while they eat cheese and tell them why they need to buy jewelry. I just don't. I have no interest in that. And then, of course, got convicted and decided to do more with it. But that's a longer story. But I realized after doing that one party with my friend, it wasn't that bad. She had 5 friends that loved it so much, they asked me to book a party, and I'm like, well, ugh. All right. Okie doke. I seriously was. I was like, ugh, now this is a thing I do. But after doing those 5 parties, I learned something that so many people have yet to learn. Doing parties for your friends and family are the hardest parties you will ever do. When you move beyond that circle, like seriously, if my brother was in this room right now, I couldn't even talk to you. I couldn't. Because he knows that this person is not me. This person is the one who cries because some boy broke up with her, right? Like, he knows the ugly side of me. But when you don't do that with other people, you can become this confident person who's out there saving babies because that's what you all do. And next thing you know, when you're that confident person who's out there saving babies, you're going to book 5 more parties. And you're going to book 5 more parties. And you're going to watch even more women eat cheese. And you're going to talk to them about how they can have parties. And you're going to make it look so easy because you're going to have those cue cards in your hand. And they're going to be like, well, I can do that. And they're going to go out there and book their own parties and save babies. So that is one of many ways you can share Traits of Hope.
Another way, I'm going to just tag on to the end of what Melissa was going to say. Another way to meet new people to party with, this is the key reason I do a vendor event, is vendor events. I look at the communities I've not partied in, and I use those as break-in activities. I go to those events. If I sell product that day, that's awesome. Of course, that's something we always want to do, right? But I do not, and Melissa too, we both talk about this regularly, we typically are not doing vendor events to sell. We are doing vendor events to meet new potential hostesses and new potential compassionate entrepreneurs. So we're out in front of that table. We're not hiding back there, even if everybody else at the event is. I've had so many people at those events be like the LuLaRoe girl and some other lady selling kids' clothes. And they're like, I learned so much today watching you. And I was like, I was just doing my thing. This is what I do. I push my table right back against that wall, and I'm out front, and I have my chair on the side. As soon as somebody comes up, I step up, and I invite her into our story, into hope. And I'm hoping there, my goal is to build a relationship that she thinks I'm funny enough, likable enough, whatever enough, that she's going to let me come to her house and change the world with her in her living room with her family and friends. So that to me, and like I said, Melissa, we talk about this a lot. Vendor event sales are awesome, but the key thing is to break in to different communities, meet different types of people so that you can keep the mission going, you can keep partying. And she's totally right, man. I party with, I'm not in Circle A. I rarely party with Circle A, rarely even with Circle B, who knew me. I'm at like Q. I have no clue in America how I got to this lady's house. But it's been a lot of people between A and Q, let me tell you, in this crazy path. So, okay, the last portion we want to talk about today is partnering or being an advocate with our artisans. And, come again? Yes, we're doing this together, so we stand at the same time. So, one of the best things you can do as your artisan partner's business partner, that is what you are. I hope you realize that, because the artisans sure do. The first story that taught me about this, I believe it was around May of 15. I wasn't with Trades of Hope very long. And I read this post that a group had gone to Haiti on a CE trip. And the CE had stood up and asked the artisans, you know, she said, a lot of my CE sisters, they feel kind of bad that they make money by selling your products. And this Haitian artisan stood up. And I don't even know who this lady is, but I've got a picture of her in my mind. And I hear her Creole voice. She stood up, she said, she put her hand on her hip, and she pulled the finger out. And she said, you go back there and you tell those women, hey, I thought we were business partners. So if we're business partners, that means she better get paid too. Because otherwise, this is just charity and volunteerism all over again. So the best thing you can do for her is to show up with her. She's making that jewelry every freaking day, right? And she's there. She's making those necklaces and earrings and cuffs because she's expecting and hoping and praying you and I are going to show up and that we're going to be able to tell the story about how Grace is not going to be working in a sweatshop when she makes these earrings, any of these capiche earrings, but instead she's in a space where she's being treated with equity and grace, living into her name. She's fairness, sustainability. So we really need to know these products. So when somebody compliments me on anything I'm wearing and carrying, again, I go back to the sound bite. I am not going to vomit the whole presentation onto this person. And when somebody compliments me on my Brave necklace, I say, oh, this is helping parents not put their children up for adoption in Haiti due to their poverty. People will be like, what? People do what? And then that interest opens up for me to tell more. But as people have vendor event, a party, wherever, every single piece that my guests and hostesses touch, I have a soundbite for them. And I make sure that they know that that piece is going to change real people's lives today when they purchase that and when they party with me. So learning your products, and my team last year, they said, you know so many artisan stories, Shelby. How do you know them? I said, hey, on the website, when you click on the product, there's a story. You just read it, you learn it. And then you learn that the same story goes with a whole bunch of some of them from India especially. So then you are equipped, you're empowered. And then it's also just the stories in the Kindred blog or wherever else here. You're going to leave with all kinds of fresh stories. There's power in story. Story matters to people, right? It matters. Your story matters to you. Well, her story matters to others too. So know those stories. I think hands down, it's probably the best thing you can do for your business. It's not be like, oh yeah, it's really pretty. But really to be able to say, this is what this piece is. These fearless earrings, they're rebuilding women's lives in Nepal, women who've been rescued out of the sex trade. Boom. Target ain't selling that, right? Walmart doesn't have a story behind their pieces, right? So you invite everybody to those parties, say, I want you to keep shopping with me after this party because there's no box store out there in America who's going to tell you how you're going to make a real difference in real people's lives when you choose to buy better.
All right, I feel like we've covered 1, 2, and 3 with the partner, with everything else that we've discussed. So I really just want to leave you with a thought. When I first started my business, I knew it was going to be like climbing a mountain, right? Let's leave it on this adventure path thing, right? I'll tell you about climbing that mountain. You knew that some days you would get to a point and then maybe you would plateau. And then you might take a few more steps and you'd plateau again. A few more steps, and eventually you get up to your goal. I was completely wrong. None of that is true. I've heard that analogy so many times, and I feel like with what we're doing, we're not climbing mountains, we're more like scaling sand dunes, okay? With each step you take and the effort you put in, you're going to backslide a little. With another step, you're going to backslide a little bit. And while that can be frustrating, if you just understand that's part of the process, there are people at this Inspire that weren't at the first Inspire. And there are people that were at the first Inspire that I went to that aren't here today. That's just the nature of our business and what we do. I think the average is 3 years, isn't it, for somebody to stay, if they're going to... 4 to 5 years to stay in a direct sales business. So to say you're climbing a mountain and maybe plateau, I don't think that's fair. I really don't think that's fair for what we do, because you're having to constantly readjust your stepping, your footing, and you need to understand that, well, if I took this big step, why did I only go this far? Because there's backslide. But the thing is you got to keep moving, or you're just going to fall and sink down over time. It will just happen. You got to just keep climbing. Another part of this analogy is, if you've ever climbed through the sand or through a sand dune, you have better footing if you're stepping in where somebody before you has already stepped. Which, with what we do with Trades of Hope, we're so new, sometimes you're the first one on that hill, girl. Don't turn around and wonder who's going to come around and go before you. You go do the hard work. You take those steps so that your team coming up behind you can do those steps behind you and maybe do them a little bit easier. Is it fair? I think it's completely fair. I think it's completely and totally fair that you may have to work harder, or I may have to work harder, so that those coming up behind me can work a little bit easier, because that's what our sisterhood does. We look out for each other and help each other, because ultimately we all have the same mission, right? To help the artisans with their business and to help each other. We're a sisterhood that believes in empowering women out of poverty, and we don't exclude ourselves from that at all. We are part of that as well.
She's good. She's real good. That's why she's my pacing partner. Yeah. All right, well, 2 things I'm going to talk to you about here. Super quick. Attend your team meetings that your directors offer. You like this? You like being here with each other? Pretty fun, right? You could do that every month. 9 p.m., Zoom. Get on that team call. Also, you're going to really be serving your director, because if she gets 350 phone calls about the hostess incentive, she's never going to get the party herself, right? And so she won't be able to stay in that great role of being able to lead you or help others come up and lead alongside of her. So please attend your meetings and know kind of who you should be reaching out to. You should always be reaching out first to your sponsor. You know, and if you've got a question, this is just my team's roles, but I'm sure my director friends would appreciate it. If you're going to ask me a question, I have my girls tag their sponsor on it, because 8 times out of 10, the sponsor has the answer before I even get on there myself. So it's just a way to be able to support. Sorry, my husband just walked in and then left. That's distracting. She's right. Handsome, but distracting. So go to your team meetings and go for every incentive. What is it going to hurt? No one. It's gonna hurt if you didn't. It's gonna hurt artisans. It's gonna hurt your spirit. Is he coming back to the store too? Oh my God. The last 2 minutes I send this picture. I'm like, they didn't bring us the stools I wanted. Bro of hope. Thank you. Rock star. Thank you, honey. I didn't even set the time, but this will be nice for the last couple seconds. Isn't this nice? I saw him in the hallway. Thank you, babe. So go for every incentive, because it's going to hurt no one. It's going to hurt your spirit if you don't. But you're going to affect change all the way there, so don't feel bad about it. So in closing, what I wanted to talk about, Russ and I listened to Chelsea's blog from, it was about a year ago, June of 18, I think. Chelsea, one of the founders, she talked about the difference between juggling life and finding your balance. And I loved it. Even Russ and I listened to it twice, and he goes, "How old is Chelsea?" And I was like, 26. He's like, dang, what were we thinking about when we were 26? I was like, not this kind of stuff. But I love that Chelsea talked about when we are trying to juggle life, that's a stressful activity, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to drop? I'm going to drop my kids. I'm not going to pick them up at school. Shoot. I'm going to forget to get all the groceries I need for this recipe. I'm going to forget to do that hostess thing. If you're going to see that as your life, as you're trying to keep all the balls in the air, you're going to be in a constant state of stress, anxiety, of some volume. It depends on how you're wired. But instead, kind of like with yoga, I don't know if she talked about it this way, but trying to find balance. learning to be able to have this, to focus on what you're doing, like when you're going for that destination, whatever it is, and you're going to strike yourself a mountain pose or the warrior pose, right? That's my favorite. But you're focusing on what's beyond what you're doing. You're focusing on that calm, on your breathing, staying centered, laser focused on on all the pieces of your parts of your body working together. So I encourage you to go back to Chelsea's blog and to be able to listen to, she talks about it, and then she has a little write-up. But it is really, and I would say this is true in my own life, when I'm looking ahead at those 6 things I'm going to do tomorrow, or I'm thinking about my goals for this month or quarter, I have to stop. And I have to choose to breathe in peace and breathe out tension. And try to get myself back onto that horizon on where I want to go. And yes, I want to go to the DR. I was $709 away from Guatemala. I'm going to the DR. All right? So, but you pick that spot. You pick that spot. You pick that goal. You pick that kind of world change you want to affect in a particular country or just globally. You pick that. You center yourself. You find that calm, and I don't know where you all are spiritually. You know, if it's the ketchup bottle or it's good vibes or it's Jesus Christ, you call him the Spirit. I don't know where you're at. Whatever it is, you call him that, the higher power, and you invite them to give you the depth and the trust that you need to have within yourself to get there. Stop doing this because you're going to make yourself so tired. You might not even come back here next year. But if you get that focus on where it is that you really feel called to go and to grow for her and with her, then you're going to find something really beautiful at the end of that destination, at the end of the trip. And we can't wait to hear about it this time next year. Thanks so much for coming. We appreciate you all.